Hi, everybody. I'm thrilled to be joined by Alan Day, who's a developer advocate focused on digital assets from Google Cloud. I've had the pleasure of working and collaborating with Alan at Google over the years, and it's really a pleasure to have him here and to get his feedback and thoughts on how hybrid smart contracts can benefit from Google Cloud and access to various data and all the amazing things that Google's working on to make more and more useful systems available to everybody. So one of the first things I always would like to understand from Alan's point of view is how he sees hybrid smart contracts and blockchains benefiting from the capabilities of Google Cloud, and specifically in regards to making data more accessible and useful.
Sure. Yeah, it's a big green field, and there's a lot of opportunity to build some interesting things here together between smart contracts and cloud. As we're aware, the smart contracts have a limited amount of resources available because they have to run across the entire network and reach consensus, and there's a lot of transactions that need to run all put into a given block. But we've got tons of resources available in cloud, either in the form of low-level resources like storage and memory and CPU, more general resources like graphics accelerators, GPUs or TPUs for machine learning. And then these services also get bundled up into higher value add services like BigQuery. This is a data warehousing environment available from Google Cloud that lets you query petabyte scale data sets in very small amount of time because of the way it's engineered and parallelized distributed system. And then other things like best-in-class machine learning services in the form of AutoML or our Cloud Vision or speech-to-text APIs. Hub subtopics for real-time data. This could be data feeds coming from somewhere else other than a blockchain that are very fresh and every few seconds. And in-memory databases like Bigtable for running high-throughput transactional systems. So we've got a ton of cloud services available, and what I've been working with Sergey and I've been talking about it, ideating about, and now implementing with real data is how can we make these cloud services available via an Oracle so that the on-chain contracts can benefit from these external services.
Yeah, that's I think that's really the main idea, even the main idea that we put out in the 2019 post, and what we've been working on, since then is how do we really create these hybrid cloud blockchain applications, right, which are capable of delivering greater and greater usefulness to users because you get the trust minimized and highly transparent properties of blockchains that are not yet very scalable or don't yet have the ability to do things like machine learning or image processing or geolocation related, kind of computations or access to data. And how do you bridge all of the data and computation that Google Cloud offers into the world of blockchains? And my view and and I think our point of view has always been, and even our collaboration has been around how do we enable that? Right? So how do we enable the Google Cloud capabilities to become immediately accessible to many different smart contracts on many different chains, kind of taking them into a new realm of capabilities? And that's very exciting because I think it's like the missing link, the missing piece of the puzzle to people building more advanced, more useful applications. And I think the ability to generate those connections already has proven to generate various sectors of smart contract economies such as DeFi or insurance or gaming or others. And I think it's only going to continue if Google Cloud provides more and more services. And so I'm really excited that there's that there's some kind of progress on how do we provide a greater amount of valuable, high value, high quality services that are off chain and can be combined with on chain code to make more advanced smart contracts. So Alan, now that we've discussed the benefits of that connectivity, so how does GCP provide things such as weather data to hybrid smart contracts and decentralized applications built on blockchains?
Yeah, so we recently published a blog post along with a GitHub repo that illustrates how to do this. And so in this case, it's there's a Chainlink Oracle that we implemented that connects directly via an API to BigQuery. And so when a request comes in via a smart contract to Chainlink, passing in some parameters essentially, it can take these parameters and reformat them so that it can be used to present the parameters to BigQuery in this case, but it could be any cloud service to allow the system to compute on those data and return a result. So this is the general pattern. We in this case we're integrating directly with the BigQuery API. We could do this with other APIs for other services for Cloud Vision and AutoML, which I mentioned earlier, which process images and text and audio and so on. But we could also be assembling more general purpose services on top of this using something like App Engine. So this is App Engine is a service available from Google Cloud for serving things over the web. And we could build a REST service that could assemble multiple different backend services to provide something more valuable and interesting.
Yeah, makes sense. I think the exciting thing for me about this use case is the use of weather data and how that is going to be immediately useful to a number of insurtechs that we know and work with, such as Arbol, that already provides crop insurance to both many developed markets, but also various emerging markets. And I think the really exciting thing for me is enabling access to various high quality data that's available on GCP and various high quality computations that can be done on GCP for teams like Arbol, because then they can go on and actually provide crop insurance to parts of the world where that just isn't available and wouldn't have been available if people had to wait for a local legal system to enable insurance companies to arrive there. But with the help of smart contracts that are kind of an alternative system of contracts, combined with really high quality data from GCP, we can actually start to realize the dream of decentralized crop insurance, which I think is actually very, very timely based on all the weather patterns we're seeing with climate change. So the initial implementation in the blog post is really impressive to me because it's not around tokens and it's not around some kind of more traditional use of blockchains. It's actually a much more advanced use of blockchains, enabling weather data to be used for crop insurance for people all over the world that want to manage the risk of climate change. And so I just find that to be something really really meaningful in just in my worldview.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree. And it's this thing you just mentioned about bringing these insurance products to jurisdictions where they are not available simply because of lack of infrastructure. This is truly empowering and lets us deploy it, showcase the power of these decentralized systems and deploy it at global scale. And just anybody with an internet connection can get on and use the services, right? It's nice that this dovetails with some of my personal passions and interests as well. I'm trained as a biologist. I mean, coming from more of a medical background, but I've been pivoting toward agriculture in recent years, and this is directly in alignment with that. Something I've learned as I've been looking into climate change and weather data and how that interfaces with agriculture. I don't know if you're aware of this, Sergey, but approximately 25% of the carbon emissions globally are actually coming from agriculture. They call it land use change. This is basically where the crops are being turned over and they need to till the soil and do the harvesting. And yeah, it's a huge portion of the carbon emissions. And if we can somehow bring some weather data in to make that process more predictable, it could potentially, if not reduce outputs, at least make the outputs more predictable and stable, which is, it's an easier system to engineer if you're not dealing with a lot of volatility, right? So we can move forward and hit some of these sustainability goals that we're all working toward to help the planet.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's one of the even more advanced use cases of all this. And I think all of this is just going to get more and more advanced with more advanced data, more advanced smart contracts. And it's kind of just a virtuous cycle where the more things that I see smart contract developers being able to build, the more they're going to build those more advanced applications, even to solve the types of problems you just laid out, which are on the more advanced side of the spectrum. But I definitely believe that the hyper automation and reliability and permissionless global access of smart contracts can solve those types of problems, as long as those types of smart contracts can be built through the combination of the world's data, the world's computational systems, and blockchains. So
yeah, super exciting. I'm curious to see, like, we have existing forecast models. So this is some other data that are available. I know we'll talk about this later, I know. But making the historical observational data for weather going back about a century, and making that available to these smart contracts to build out prediction markets. I think it's just so much opportunity here to make the market more efficient.
Absolutely. I completely agree. So that goes well with kind of the next question I was hoping to ask, which is, what are other Google Cloud data sets that could be brought on chain, and what use cases are you seeing that enable?
Yeah, so on this theme of weather that we're talking about right now, the data set that we built this example on is it's a daily observational data set. So there's like some weather stations that are bringing in precipitation and wind speed and temperature and humidity and so on. But we also have some other faster moving data sets, like there's a data set called GFS. It's a forecasting data set, and it updates every 3 hours. And rather than being from specific weather stations, it's predicted from satellite data, and it's done at I believe it's a 1 kilometer resolution globally. So yeah, I think there's some interesting opportunity there where we could be operating on a higher frequency, more fresh data for high resolution prediction markets. Other data, there's more of the forex type data, like Chainlink already has available for feeds. We have tables that include that. There's another interesting data set called GDELT, GDELT, which is a global. It updates every 15 minutes, and it's monitoring news feeds, I think in like 110 languages or something like this. And it's translating everything to English and then processing using best-in-class AI algorithms to extract entities and understand what people are talking about, extract the emotional content, extract physical locations, and then linking all these things together in like a semantic network to try to make meaning out of what's happening in the news. And so all of these data are available at our fingertips for querying from smart contracts. I imagine that we're going to start seeing services that integrate a number of different data sets and different modalities, like news and weather data and existing price data feeds to build all kind of like composite markets that we can't even imagine what they are right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't think people realize the scope of what it means to make all of GCP's data sets, all of GCP's computational capabilities, and the combination of all that available to smart contracts. I mean, I have a clear picture of that because I've spent a substantial amount of time looking at GCP and understanding what the different computational capabilities and data sets are. But realistically, I think the model that I'm seeing more and more, and why we call them hybrid smart contracts in our Chainlink 2.0 white paper, and why I think the title of our initial blog post was Hybrid Blockchain Cloud Applications, is that when you combine all the machine learning about news, right, like that can be used for prediction markets to prove what happened in the real world, or to just record what news events are true or not true, or what actually happened. And the other examples that you brought up could be combined with, you know, a multitude of different GCP functions, App Engine, a number of other data sets, to really just generate more and more advanced inputs and more advanced triggering events and more advanced proof that a smart contract can now be built around. And so if smart contracts before were only being built around a single data set about a crypto price, or about, you know, a commodities price or a forex price, or something else, something straightforward and simple like that, the universe of, you know, inputs, the universe of the combination of data and computation that GCP makes available to smart contracts through something like Chainlink as an interface to all that, as a reliable, secure interface, just kind of explodes the universe of what developers can build. And it's really increasing that universe that I think is going to change the nature of our industry, right? So it's great, in my opinion, that our industry has been about, you know, tokenization and private keys and voting, and that's a very good start and a very good foundation. But I really do believe that where our industry, the blockchain and smart contract industry, goes from here is all of these more advanced use cases, right? Taking over the global financial system, taking over global trade, taking over global insurance. And I think the ability to make these more advanced applications that are really a combination of data-rich off-chain systems and highly transparent, highly secure on-chain systems, with kind of Chainlink negotiating and making sure that kind of secure connection is there, is really the hybrid smart contract architecture I see more and more people building it. So I'm just super excited to get more and more developers building in that model, because I think more and more of them building in that model will just see things like Arbol, like various other applications that are going to really be taking what you can do with a smart contract and a blockchain to the next level.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Chainlink is definitely in a very pivotal position in this whole emerging ecosystem, being the bridge component between clouds and these various blockchains that you make the data available on. Just stepping back, I was thinking as you were talking about you know, this initial blog post that we wrote a couple of years ago, and DeFi wasn't really even a thing, right? We were just like pulling in some gas prices and I forget what else, but there weren't even, I think, not even any Uniswap, like Ethereum USDT price pair data at the time. So it's amazing how quickly all this moves forward. On the topic of like data sets, this is also not just like data available from Google Cloud, right? It could be data coming from elsewhere, like we were just talking about gas prices. But data, realize that, actually, I know you're aware, Google Cloud is indexing all of the data on a number of blockchains. And so if another provider is putting data on the Ethereum blockchain, let's say, for IPFS URLs of image data from a camera, let's say, we're already indexing that. And if somebody wants to build a service in GCP that relies on a data feed coming from another provider to process it in Google Cloud, and then write those processed results on chain, that's something that could be composed now. So what I see coming here very soon will be something like smart contract microservices, where we see various data feeds coming from various providers that can be assembled with best-in-class algorithms coming from algorithm providers to write more data back on chain. Essentially, data derivatives back on chain from some unique source of data plus some group of participants who want to process the data, and then the market can choose what they believe is the best source of the data, and the best data derivative, and all this being powered by some Oracle middleware that helps everything get connected together. I don't know what it all means. I don't know what data sources are like. What's the highest priority list of things to bring on chain? I think you've got a pretty good idea of that. You were talking about logistics, and obviously it's all markets. But from the GCP side, I see we've got a lot of tools we can bring to the table to help people build this stuff, and I'm super excited about what's going to happen next.
Great. So am I, Alan. I think we're really helping the industry grow and build great things like crop insurance and Arbol and a whole bunch of other use cases. So I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us and share your point of view on all this. It's has always been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for sharing your point of view, and excited to be speaking again sometime soon. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thanks so much, Sergey. It's been a pleasure.